Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to season 4 of Legacy's Journey, where we talk about creating what outlives you. I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kinley Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for marketing agencies so that they can live the dream life they deserve and not be a slave to their business. And we do that through CFO services, consulting, and accounting. Now, this is season 4, where we focus on companies who've either bought, sold, scaling, or excelling. But this is our switch up episode where guess what we get to do? We get to talk numbers and finances because, of course, this is a podcast for marketing agencies. Now, how do we want to jump into today? So, first off, we are in January of 2026. So, if this is your first episode, Happy New Year. Welcome to the podcast. Normally, we would have a guest on here and we just kind of walk through their journey, how they've made it, how they've scaled, some of the things they've learned, some speed bumps that you should avoid. But every so often, we like to throw in an episode of just me trying to give you guys some great tips, advice, the things that we're seeing working for our clients, etc. So today, to start the year off, first and foremost, you should be meeting with your accountant for year end. Why? Because this is where we get to kind of solidify everything, right? So at this point, it's January, 12/31 has already happened. So, hey, you should be meeting with your accountant to see, hey, where did I land? What was my gross revenue, total expenses, let's start over. What was my gross revenue, total expenses, and my net income? Why? Because those numbers are super important. I need to know from a gross revenue standpoint, did we grow from last year? Are we making more money? Which is kind of indicative of your sales process, right? So that's why we're asking that. Total expenses. Did we just spend money on a bunch of unnecessary stuff or were we lean? I like to ask my clients, hey, from a distribution standpoint, where are we putting all of our money? Is all of our money inside of our team? Like, is our team at 70% or higher, which means we're low key spending a ton of money on our team? Or are there some other areas that we maybe didn't put as much money to that can help us to grow and scale the right way going into 2026? And then finally, that net income number. Why is that super important? It's important because why? This is the number that the taxes are based on. So that net income number, when I look at it, what is it? That's going to tell me kind of what tax rate I'm at when you add that plus your income. So you want to kind of look at these things because that's going to start telling you tax bracket, how much you're going to owe, etc. Now, in addition to those, I also want to look at cash in the bank. How much cash did I have at the end of the year? Because could I be super profitable but not have cash? That answer is yes. Could I be super profitable and have a bunch of cash? Ideally, right? In a perfect world, that's what makes sense. Or do I have low net income, which means I have low cash? Like there's a lot of things in that whole arena that you want to be looking at, right? So those are kind of your main big 4 things that you need to be paying attention to. Of course, pay attention to your loans, your credit cards. How much did you take out in distributions? Because those things will kind of completely tell you what are you doing with your money. All right, so now next, what we want to talk about. This is something that I've been going over a lot with my clients. Something that we have found has really been helping them dig. First and foremost, let me give you some context. So our theme for 2025 for our clients was serve first. We wanted to make sure we were serving them at a pretty high level, being attentive to their needs the whole nine. For 2026, our theme is go deep. Why? Because I think we do as a society, what do we do? Oh, it's all this new stuff coming out. Let's figure out how to implement all this and add this in. Whereas I didn't want to do that. I wanted to say, hey, we're already serving you. Let's go 2 or 3 levels deeper so that way we can help you to make more money, bigger savings, build the retirement plans, etc. So one of the things that we did, we split one of our packages. It was called the growth package. So we split it into 2 pieces, actually, called it growth 1 and growth 2. And the idea behind that was growth 1, which is what pretty much most of the people had on that package. We're going to meet with you. We're going to do tax strategy. We're going to do projections. We're going to do budgeting. We're going to do trends. We're going to meet with you every single quarter and go super deep to keep you in alignment with your goals, tax return included. But one of the pieces of feedback that we got, which I thought was very interesting, is every single person, whether they're still here, whether they're offboarding, they're like, Cameron, I cannot lie to you. Those meetings were awesome. We got so much value from them. Just being able to get on there and brainstorm with you, to stay in alignment, to share our goals, for you to give us a whole different perspective. It really helped us to grow. Thank you so much, right? Or let's keep doing that. So we are now doing monthly meetings on what we're calling Growth 2, and we're adding a lot of KPIs and dashboards so that we can go deeper. Now, one of the things we're going deeper on, which brings me to the next thing that I want you to focus on, is profitability. Not just the net income part that we talked about, but a lot of times we think, man, we're killing it because we're charging a lot of money. We're just super profitable. I want you to run this exercise if you can. Some of you, this should be relatively easy. Some of you may have to build it up and come back in a month or two. What I want you to do is track how many hours does it take for you to fulfill on a client on that package. So for example, we have technically 4 packages. So we track time. And the way we're doing this is my team's time. So whatever they're working on throughout the month, any meetings, when they're talking to the client, working on a file, plus my time, which will be, in my case, the reviews or getting on calls with them, the consulting part, working on something for them. What is that? So let's just, for example, so we have clear numbers. So let's say that's 6 hours. Well, depending on one of those 4 packages, I have an allocated amount of time that I, the owner, feel that we should be working on that package. So just for easy math sake, we'll just go 2, 6, 10, and 20. So let's say it's package 2. So 2, 6, 10, 20. So let's say it's package 2. I'm telling my team, hey, this client, when we work on them, should not take us more than 6 hours, right? That's what I think. So let's say we start tracking time and we find out, oh no, we're spending 8 hours a month on this client. You need to know this as an agency, because what tends to happen? So this shows up in your world like, man, seems like we're not making enough money. Seems like I'm barely able to pay my people. Well, is it because you're out of scope? Like, why are we over by 2 hours? Is it because we're doing all this back and forth with revisions? Are we out of scope? Are we trying to be nice and serve them? So we're just doing all this extra stuff and not really charging. These are the things you have to think through, because that's what's messing up your profitability. Now, run that across your whole client list, and it has not failed yet. Every single person who does it with us, myself included, you find out that, oh my gosh, we're spending more time on clients than we thought. Add to that you should be charging for some type of hourly rate, right? So let's say, just for easy math, I want to charge $200 an hour. So in theory, if they are 6 hours a month, $200 an hour, all right, so the package price should be $1,200, right? But remember what I just said, really we spend 8 hours. So you're not making $200 per month. You're really making, let's see, 1,200 divided by 8. You're making $150 per hour. So really, you're losing money on this client because you want to make 200, but I'm only making 150. And you run that same exercise through all of your clients. Now, Cameron, why is this important? How does this help me as an agency, as a business owner, to grow and do better, to live my dream life, to go on the family vacations, take my family to Disney World, travel all around the world for 2 months? Because if we can increase this number and get it to that $200 an hour or higher, then you're making more money and being more efficient. Now, why could it be that I thought it was 6 hours, but we're spending 8? Well, there's a couple of things you need to look at. Part one is my team capable of doing the work? Like, did we just not train well enough? Do they not understand what they're supposed to be doing? Are they not following SOPs? Is it a training issue? That's easy to fix. You kind of ask, or the manager gets to go and ask them some of these questions. And maybe it's just as simple as we need a 30-minute to an hour training because, hey, none of my people knew how to access this and they were doing something that took 10 steps when it really should have just taken 3. Problem solved. Going forward, instead of 8 hours, it should be closer to that 6. That's one thing. Number 2 reason why it may not be, it could just be that we're not being efficient enough. Like, no, we're doing it the right way. We're doing every single shortcut you showed us, Cam. It just legit takes us 8 hours. Then now what you should be thinking is, okay, what kind of tech or automations can I bring in to try to bring that down? Because think about it. If you do all that math, let's say you got, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 clients. Well, if I'm saving 2 hours each, that means we're doing more work and it's taking us less time, which means I can bring on more clients without having to hire more people, which means by default, I should be making more profit. So you have to ask yourself, okay, is there some type of tech that can help me to automate a portion of this? Is there some type of new system or workflow that we can build to cut this down from 10 steps down to 5, right? Now, this, I like to throw this in there. A lot of people do a lot of end of year bonuses or something like that, where they ask us, Cameron, we want to incentivize our team. How? That's one of your ways. Hey, part of your KPI scorecard, which you should have for your team, by the way. If you don't, that's a whole different conversation. You need to talk to your ops person. Yes, I can talk to you through it, but your ops people are best. All right. What I want you to do for the next 90 days is work on getting them from 8 hours down to 6. What do you need in order to do that? Nothing is off the table. Present to me that plan. Guess what? Now your team is super involved because it's going to be based on me. They have to be creative. You're pushing them to think and use this brain. Don't get guilty of always being what Jana Lee, shout out to her. I just love her. She is such a genius. I remember she told me, I think this was 2 years ago now, Cameron, don't be the vending machine. And I was like, what does that mean? When your team comes to you and asks you a question, don't just answer it, because why do they need to think? I can just go to Cameron, hit my little code, put my little quarters in there, and then he gonna answer my questions. No, make them think. Ask them why. What do you think? How would you solve the problem? Because we want to create a team full of thinkers, not just doers. Because don't forget, AI is here, and the agents are coming, and they're starting to be able to do. So I don't need you to just be a doer. I need you to be a thinker, because then we can use that to help us and magnify 10x our output. So in going back to it, okay, what can we automate? What can we make faster? What can we cut out? Maybe the process I originally set up is outdated. Maybe we can do it faster now, but that's something you need to think through. Problem number 3, and this is my personal favorite, you could have just been wrong and mispriced it. Like, dang, I know I wanted to be at 6 hours, but across this package, when I look at every single client on package 2, we are losing money on almost every single one. Because instead of 6, they're all taking about 8 hours. Well, guess what? You built that incorrectly. You just misjudged it. So what does that now allow you to do is go back and say, hey, you know what? Either A, I can go back to the client, especially if we've been doing a great job. It's time to upsell. Hey, either there's a price increase coming, especially if you haven't raised prices in a while, or maybe I need to upsell to that third package, which remember we said is 2 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, and 20. Okay, now you move them to the 10-hour package. They should be more excited because they should be getting more bells and whistles. They're getting more value. You're already working on them for 8 hours. That should keep you under the 10. Now we're more profitable that way. Or like I said, we just did the price increase. Now I know some of you like, Cam, I want to rock the boat. I've been cool with this client for a minute. That's a whole different topic. I understand that. I get that. As a people's person, I don't want to do that, because if you like, no, I want to do that, then you're going to leave, etc. So I get that. So that means going forward, every new person that you're signing, that new price. So let's say you're like, man, okay, it need to be $1,500 instead of $1,200. Well, every single sales call I have going forward is going to be at that $1,500 price. And then, of course, all my older people are at the $1,200 price. So I fixed it going forward by making myself more profitable to meet those new hours. Or is it, one of my favorites, Do we just not even push this package anymore because maybe it's not profitable, and we're just going to bring people in at the higher packages? Because maybe you found out that package three is pretty profitable, and nobody in that package rarely goes over 10, and that package is stickier. So those are your three things, right? Either we have a training issue, we need more tech and automations, or I just really threw out some numbers and I didn't know any better. Now I know better because I have the data. Let me take all of that and then utilize that to fix my pricing going forward, go back, raise prices, or upsell those people into a new package. Make sense? Now, one of the things I just mentioned from there, well, now we're talking about our packages. You need to know as a business owner what is the lifetime of my packages. Think of it like LTV, but for the package, not necessarily the client. But what I'm asking you to look at is for everybody who's on package three, how long do they stay with us? And what do we make on average? So what we do with our clients is say, okay, let's take this. Give me a client list. Give me all the packages there and give me all the pricing. And we're going to run our thing and we'll be able to say, hey, your package three people on average stay with you for 18 months. And on average, you charge them $2,000. What does that tell you as the owner? Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I sell this package, I can anticipate that for the next 18 months, they're going to stay with us at 2K per month. What is that? 36 grand we would make. And of course, that's not including your onboarding or a consult and all those things. Just stay with me. Just simple math. So every person we bring in at package three is going to be at $2,000. They're going to stay with us for 18 months. This person is worth 36 grand. Now you're a marketer. What do you do with that number? Well, hey, if I'm gonna keep it for 18 months and that's 36 grand, then I can spend up to how much to get the client, right? We talk about that with ads, it's the same thing. To acquire that, am I willing to spend, if you're gonna stay with me for 18 months and I'm making 36 grand, am I willing to spend 18 grand to get you? Because in theory, I'm gonna spend 18 grand and I'm gonna make 36 grand plus your onboarding and all that to get you or when I have you. So this is why these different numbers are important. You should be able to say, hey, for in my case, all four of these packages, people stay with us for X amount of time. And on average, currently active, not, oh, I charge $2,000 now. Yeah, but you weren't charging $2,000, like in that example we were just talking about. But you got some people at 1,200. You got all these new people at 1,500. So that average is probably 1,350 for that package. You need to know these metrics because why? When your sales team, which may be you, gets on the call, you should be able to say, hey, I don't want to sell package one because not only do those people not stay with us that long, but they never upsell to any other package. So I don't really want you to push that. Don't even bring that up. That's more of a down sell if the client is trying to leave or their money's funny and we got to down sell. Based on my numbers, you need to sell package two or three. And I'm always want you to lead with package three first, but listen to their needs on the call, right? One call close, listen to their needs, close the gaps. If they don't need that, then of course go to package two. But if it sounds like that's a fit based on what they're saying, package three. Because you know that, hey, that should take me 10 hours. And at this price point, I'll make my $200 an hour. You see how it all starts to work together and piece together. That's why it's super important. Now, you may be saying, Cam, oh my gosh, you got my head swimming. It's a ton of numbers. Numbers ain't my jam. I know this. This is why you need to work with somebody who focuses on strategy. Your accountant's great. Bookkeeper's great. Fractional CFO different. A consultant is different because we know where to look in order to get all these things. Now, I just told it to you for the free Steve. So in theory, yes, you can go try to do all this on your own. God bless you. What would help you better would be, of course, to come find us or somebody like us that will do all this for you. And now it's just, hey, break it down and explain it to me. So, for example, to kind of wrap this up, we did this for one of our clients this morning, and she was like, dang, I really thought we were doing like really well profitability wise. This is really off. It's okay. We didn't know any better, right? But now that we know better, let's do better. So let's adjust. What is the number you want it to be? that you want to make per hour. Okay, if we plug that in, okay, see, you're not as far off, right? If you were making 150 an hour, but you wanted $300 an hour, that's a big difference. Versus if you're like, okay, more realistic, let's set it to 200. Okay, well, 150 to 200, that's like an hour or two. We can cut off an hour or two per client. We may have to dig real hard, but we can do that. And then now the client is able to go back to her team. Hey, I need y'all to do this. I need you to track your time. Don't be playing around. Get it exact because we're trying to make sure we're profitable. And like I tell my team, hey, you need to track your time because I want to see if we're profitable. Because the more profitable we are, the more money we make. The more money we make, the more opportunities for bonuses for you. So that's how you want to look at it. But you got to spend the time and put in the work to do these numbers so that you are fully aware of where your business is going. Everybody talks about scaling and I want to make a bunch of money and I want the boats and the yacht and the new car and all that. It starts with knowing your numbers, right? I shouldn't have to even get on here and talk about the importance of great financials, P&Ls and balance sheets. These are things I'm expecting you guys and holding you accountable to already knowing that that's important. You should already have that, especially if you're making over 30 grand per month. There's no excuse in the world. What I'm saying is we can use those numbers and that data to take it to this deeper level of what I'm talking about, the profitability per client, the package lifetime, right? How long are people staying so that we can take all these pieces of information. I can go to my sales team and say, hey, we're mainly trying to sell package 3. Package 4 is great. That requires a little bit more of my time, which I don't want, but a handful of those because I still may need to be out selling, doing marketing, traveling, etc. But the main piece is number 3. We'll do some at number 2. I really don't want to push number 1 unless it's, maybe a family member that's just starting or somebody from your church or something like that, right? Like you just want them to do well. You're kind of my passion project, etc. But that's kind of how you want to work. And if the sales team knows that, then guess what your marketing needs to be pointing people to? Package 3. Why would you, like, I'll use us. In my case, you're never going to see me talking about bookkeeping because I don't push bookkeeping. That's not our bread and butter. Do we do it? Yes, because we need the data. But we push, in our case, package 3 because that's what, we enjoy doing. We're very, very, very good at it. Not many people do it the way we do it. And number 3, we've checked the margins with the same exact exercise I'm telling you, and it's pretty profitable. I'm not gonna say every single person in that package is, but it's more that are that aren't. You see what I'm saying? So in my marketing, I now know which package to highlight. When I'm out and about, I know what to talk about in networking circles. If I'm doing a webinar, I know what to push. If I'm on a stage or a platform or a podcast, this is the one I'm always pushing and talking about and pointing people to and showing case studies about because that's my profitable package. That's where I make the most money. These are the people who stay with me the longest, right? 18 months, for example. So I know my client value is going to be higher. And like in our case, that don't even include, is there a tax return included? Is there an upfront cleanup fee? Because maybe we got to do back years or back tax returns. Like all of that comes into play. So why did I want to tell you guys this was because, hey, like I said, this is what we're doing with some of our higher clients. And it is super important. Now, again, I'm going to challenge you. This is a new year. Everybody be, oh, new year, new me. So if it's a new year, then I want you to have your best year. And you can't do that without financial visibility. You need to see these numbers. You need to be able to work through these. The numbers are nothing but telling a story. That's why they told us in school, right? Accounting is the language of business. Because if you look at people's numbers and they're accurate, it tells you a very clear story of how they behave, what they think. Are they trying to scale super fast? Are they moving conservative? Are they in growth mode? Are they just holding steady? Are they struggling? Do they? It tells you all of that, but you will not know if you're not in tune with these numbers. And I'm not saying that you have to be the one to do the accounting. What I'm saying is you need to have somebody such as myself or whoever your current person is that can look through these and process it with you so that the numbers stay in alignment with your goals. That where you want to go, that Disney trip, it's a piece of cake because, hey, if we hit our numbers and hit our metrics and hit our sales targets and we're profitable, I can pay for that next month, straight cash. You know what I'm saying? So you have to use these numbers to help you. And again, if you're not a numbers person, I just talked to one of my clients about this. We did a podcast episode, which should have already dropped probably. We were talking about that. I was like, what made you kind of start making some of these changes? And he's like, hey, I learned at an early age in my business career. If I ain't good at it, I need to get somebody in place to help me with it. So no, you don't have to be the one. And we hear that, oh, I want to take it over, or I'm gonna do it because I want to be in two of my numbers. You got to let that go, right? If you want the best results, you got to free up that mental space. Hire somebody that's a professional that can do it at a high level. And remember, there's stages, right? If you're making under 10 grand, you don't need somebody like me. You do need just a regular bookkeeper, keep everything nice and clean. Once you're creeping towards that 20-ish, 30-ish per month in gross revenue, now you need to be trying to find somebody like me that's going to help you not necessarily do what we just did with the profitability per client, but start building you some projections, some trends, talking tax strategy, because chances are you probably haven't made this much money in a month before. 30 grand, most people don't make that in a month. That's like half a year's salary. And then, of course, if we're at that 50K on up, you should be talking to somebody like me, because the chances are you found proof of concept, you're scaling the right way, but now we're bringing on new talent and I'm trying to pay myself more and I've never made this much money and I don't know this about taxes. How do we put people on payroll and, all these things. So I'm going to end with that, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I want to do this, but I don't know how. You don't need to. Just like in my case, I don't know how to run an ad campaign. I have no idea. I've even tried to learn it myself. I be struggling. So guess what? I need to hire somebody that's their bread and butter. It's the same way I view accounting. That's how they view them ads. And I pay them to do that so that they can be great at that. That frees my brain up, and I be trying to learn that and be all in meta, poking around and clicking. And I can keep going out here helping my clients, going deeper and doing it at a high level. Same thing with your numbers, right? Now, with that being said, that's all I got for you. I don't know how many solos I will be doing, because, of course, we're about to get into tax season. By the way, make sure you file your tax returns on time by April 15th. S Corp and partnerships by March 15th. Try not to extend, because it's an extension to file, not an extension to pay. And everybody get mad because, oh, I thought I filed an extension. You did, but they still wanted their money, even though you didn't know what you was going to owe. I can't change that. So make sure y'all handle that. Again, meet with your CFO, your accountant for year end, to make sure those books are locked in. You approve them so they can get ready to get started on those taxes. The tax window opens on January 26th. So hopefully you enjoy that one. Hopefully you have a great tax season. Hopefully you've saved up some money to be prepared to pay your tax bill, especially if you had your best year, et cetera, et cetera. So with all that being said, y'all, I'm super excited. You know what? I'll make a promise here. I'll probably do another one of these. I got to do some traveling, so I think I got to go to. Don't worry about where I'm gonna be going, because you don't need. But we're gonna do some traveling, hitting up some of our networking groups. Shout out to our buddies in Optimist Mastermind. Shout out to our buddies at Four Rooms Mastermind. Shout out to our buddies in Committed Mastermind. Shout out to our buddies in POD. Those different things will be happening. If you're a marketing agency and you're like, I need a community where I can grow and learn some of these things you're talking about, or stay up to date with what's going on, hit us up. We know some great communities that are a little tailored towards specific personality types, but that would love to help you to grow. Of course, if I invite you in, it's always going to be a lot easier, because they're going to be like, oh, Cameron, oh yeah, come on, let's talk, blah blah blah. You can probably be a visitor. Hold on. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go per usual. And as always, we're going to keep bringing you great guests all throughout the season. I'm excited to bring them to you. Until the next time we talk, stay safe. And of course, go make some money. See you.